Hello, and welcome to the English with Colin Podcast, a podcast for English language learners. My name's Colin, I'm an English teacher in Tokyo, and if you're looking to improve your English skills and gain more confidence in your ability to communicate in English, you've come to the right place. In these episodes, I'll provide you with short conversations in English that cover a range of topics, from everyday situations to more specialised subjects. These conversations are designed to help you practice your listening skills and pick up new vocabulary and grammar along the way. Regular listening practice is key to improving your English, and I hope this podcast will become a valuable resource for you on your language learning journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. And remember, the more you listen, the more you'll learn. This is episode 18, and in this episode we're talking about fashion in Tokyo. Hey Sue.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well. Today we're going to talk about how people dress in Tokyo. If I ask you that question, what's your response? How do people dress in Tokyo?
I would say definitely there is very distinctive groups. There are different groups that you know when someone is in each group. They have certain colors. They dress a certain way, and they also look a certain way.
Right. So there's clear categories.
There are clear categories, I think.
What kind of categories?
Well, there's the one that perhaps is most known outside for being very colorful. The Lolitas, right? And all of these colors.
Yeah, the Lolitas are the kind of the ones with all the frilly dresses. The very, very frilly dresses. Not necessarily colorful.
No, but yeah, well, colorful in the sense that, they call your attention.
Right.
And I think that's the point, right? Mm-hmm. But there's other groups that are also quite interesting. There are some younger girls also that like to dress in very kind of creamy tones and right. A little bit baggy. Right.
Yeah, I would say that's a very popular fashion at the moment.
A bit conservative, and yes, it's quite interesting. There's the groups that are a little bit more fashion forward.
What do you mean by fashion forward?
Perhaps brands they like to use to wear expensive brands.
Yeah, I think that is a difference you might see. I think you see it sometimes when there's some Chinese tourists in Tokyo. They are perhaps more likely to wear brands that have the brand name very clearly displayed, as opposed to in Japan, not necessarily. So they're not necessarily as keen to have those brands on display. Like the brand names.
Not the brand names, but they're still, very expensive items that they would be wearing.
If you know what people are wearing, you can see, okay, that's not cheap.
Yeah.
Definitely there's a lot of conservative fashion. It's something I see with a lot of my students. A lot of people wearing those kind of the kind of tones that you were talking about, the sort of creams and the browns and whatever. A lot of white, but a lot of black.
A lot of black, especially Tokyo. I think Tokyo is not. It's more reserved in colors. Yeah,
but I think that's a relatively recent thing. It certainly hasn't always been like that. It seems like it's a relatively recent trend to wear these kind of very muted colors.
Yes, it gives the sense of the city.
Okay. Yeah.
I think.
Right.
I think it gives it a character. Because you also have, the everyday person going to work
The salaryman.
The salaryman. So
Right.
it's almost like a uniform.
Yeah, it is a uniform. I think that's one thing I would pick out as a difference. When we go back to the UK, one thing that catches my attention is that in the city, I mean, obviously, say a city like London, there are parts of London where people still dress very formally. If you go to the city, the financial city of London, yeah, people still wear very expensive suits. But generally people it feels more casual. London feels a lot more casual than Tokyo. And I think it's not that people in Tokyo dress very formally. It's, I think, business culture in the UK and many other Western cities has become more casual. Like, you don't necessarily need to wear a suit and tie to be a businessman. Whereas I think in Japan, if you are a businessman, you're expected to have a shirt and tie.
Any kind of business as well.
Yeah, sales or yeah, obviously if you're a lawyer or an accountant or something, you're expected to have a suit and tie. But yeah, I think in other countries, this kind of business casual has become more common. The US, I think, generally has always been more casual than even the UK. I mean, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, billionaire owner of Facebook with his hoodies and jeans and whatever. But yeah, definitely, if you're traveling in Tokyo at rush hour in the morning or evening, it's suits. It's suits all over the place.
The fashion also changes a lot when it starts to get really hot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely the seasons have a big impact.
The seasons have a big impact. So, yeah, for summer you start seeing a little bit more colors, maybe blues and maybe a little bit of pinks and reds. Mm-hmm. Yes, I really like the summer fashion. Mm. It's light, it's comfortable. Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's clothes that don't really last very long because of the heat and also the humidity.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing about that is if you go to many countries in the summer months, people show a lot of skin. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example,
short shorts.
Short shorts, but also, for example, women might have tops that show a lot of their arm. Mm. Or a lot of their legs, for example. That's not true in Japan. Like, it's quite rare to see somebody's shoulders. Like, women generally cover their shoulders in Japan. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that, yeah. Yes. It's not a bad idea because the sun can be quite harsh. And what you want is to cover your skin to protect it.
Do you think that's why they're doing it? Do you think it's for sun protection, or do you think it's more a conservative?
I think it might
tendency?
Be both.
A bit of both.
A bit of combination. I think there's definitely options to of shirts or dresses to show your shoulders. Mm-hmm. But in general, women will wear something on top, and it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, it definitely, if you're out and about regularly, it builds up, the amount of sun you get over many, many weeks.
At the beginning, for example, it was quite interesting to me to see people with umbrellas.
Umbrellas for the sun.
For the sun. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Maybe it's a bit much. But then I understood, no, this is necessary. Mm-hmm. I need one because if not, it's quite tiring. And your skin suffers.
University you were working at, you had a long walk from the train station to the university. And you said in the summer months that was really tough if you didn't have an umbrella.
It made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, fashion also, I guess, depends on the weather.
Yeah.
And yeah, the summer months are quite nice. And winter, not so much. I think everyone wears the same jacket every single day because it's just comfortable.
I like the winter fashion. I'm from Scotland. It's a much colder country, so I'm kind of used to wearing many layers. I never know what to wear in the summer. I just feel uncomfortable the whole summertime. But yeah, winter is good for me. I think an interesting thing that I've seen is couples. You've seen boyfriend, girlfriend, and they wear the same outfit. Oh, obviously friends. You could have, and it's probably more common with female friends, but you'd have a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and they will wear the same outfit. It might be kind of exactly the same outfit, the same type of shoes, the same type of jeans, the same t-shirt, shirt, whatever. Or it might just be the same palette of colours. But yeah, this idea of we're going to coordinate. And it could be, just out in the city, or especially if you go to Disneyland. Disneyland's quite there's a Disneyland just outside Tokyo. And the number of couples that you will see in matching outfits, it's like it's a sign of your commitment. I don't know. It's
cute. I love seeing
it's quite
that.
Cute.
Yes. It's weird together.
Yeah.
And they just show it with their fashion, and I think that is a fantastic idea.
It took me by surprise, because certainly not something that we would do. It's certainly not something I've seen people do in the UK, but as you said, it's quite cute to kind of see that happen. You mentioned high-end fashion. What kind of? Well, I guess the easiest one to spot is handbags.
Handbags, plenty of expensive handbags, from students and older women. Yeah. They all like a good handbag.
I think Louis Vuitton does very, very well in Japan.
I think they do. Yves Saint Laurent, I think, does very well as well.
What else? Marc Jacobs, Coach.
Yes, that's true. Those brands also do quite well. Yeah.
I like watches, so I do kind of notice the watches that people are wearing, and you do see a lot of Japanese brands, but also you see the Rolex, the Tudor watches, Omega, those kind of things.
That's the other
thing.
Men
and women wearing very expensive watches.
Jewelry in general.
Jewelry.
You can see a lot of jewelry out and about,
including pearls.
A lot of pearls. Oh, then they're beautiful here. Pearls,
and also boys.
Oh, yes.
That's become a recent fashion trend, is boys wearing a string of pearls, which it's still a strange one for me, but and these are the cool kids. Like these are cool kids at fancy universities wearing a string of pearls, real pearls. Mm. So anyway, interesting fashion in Tokyo. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the English with Colin podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to the conversation and found it helpful in your language learning journey. Remember, the key to mastering a language is regular practice. So make sure you listen to our podcast regularly and keep honing your listening skills. We appreciate your support and feedback. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for future topics, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You can find our contact information in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to joining you again next time for another conversation in English. Until then, keep practicing and take care.